Okay, so I know some of you just come in, and based on what I just said earlier in the class, you'll understand why I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about now. Okay, so with that said, just come to a seated posture. You can sit in a chair, you can lie down as well, depending on your given circumstances. Nothing wrong lying down with the knees bent. You know, you're actually able to feel the diaphragmatic breath more easily. And create an upright structure so you're creating the right container for the breath, the prana, the life force to move freely and easily. And then allow the eyes to close without letting the chest sink. Generally, as soon as we close the eyes, the chest tends to round, it draws back, the neck and the head are impaired, the head comes forward. See if you can feel your spine come onto the median line of the body. And then see if you can listen to these words as though you're perhaps hearing them for the first time, and see if they're applicable to you. So see if you can move beyond survival mode. Survival mode and its survival mind is habitual and unconscious. It's the ways that we have developed over long periods of time, these habits to get by, to grin and bear it, and it's actually maladaptive behavior. Can we actually move beyond survival mind to step out of the fear, to step out of the resentment, out of the bitterness, to step out of holding, of clenching, of tensing around, and indeed armoring and protecting? Can we rather connect to and invite back some of our dreams, some of our aspirations, something perhaps that's more of our authentic self? Because when you're in survival mind and survival mode, those things fall apart. See if you can connect to and invite back those dreams. And you can contemplate on that aspiration. Doesn't mean I'm giving you a big project to do. It just seems that throughout the day, when you notice that you're in habitual survival mind, can you begin to recognize and to see clearly not only the why of it, but the how to disentangle yourself from that mindset, which I spoke of a little bit last week, how to untangle the tangle. And then when you're ready, you can fold the palms in front of your chest. May I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. And may I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all sentient beings are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. And then when you're ready, lift your gaze, allow your eyes to open, start your legs. So we're going to start with, you could call it a restorative sequence, the first 4 poses or so, but I really want you to address them as nourishing postures in times of stress, be it physical stress or mental stress. So we're going to begin with Supta Baddha Konasana. And I would like, good morning, let's see, you can see Alana and Lindsay and Gail and Peggy. Welcome. I'd like you to do a vertical support for Supta Baddha Konasana and take support for the neck. So for me, what works really well is when I take the Sarvangasana shape, open it out, and make a roll that I can put my, and not too big a roll, but I want it so that the head doesn't, the chin doesn't lift up. So we're going to take it in this manner, Supta Baddha Konasana. So for those of you who weren't here earlier when I made the statement, this is going to be more of a nourishing, quieting class, but I'm going to give you an opportunity once we do seated poses and supine poses to stand. And we'll talk about that when we get there. So this is the one you're doing now. And everyone can benefit from this. Have a neck roll so that your chin is not higher than your forehead. And then I've said many times, it's really wise, especially Lubna and Peggy, to interlace the hands back at the webbing firm, spread the skin right at that OA joint, and then lengthen the cervical spine away from the thoracic. The blanket will keep moving the trapezius down, all right? And those of you, Lindsay V, if any problems with the knees, you can support the thighs and don't have the heels close in. So remember that you can use thigh support if your groins don't like this posture for a bit of time. Just have the arms out to the side. So as you know, I'm a big believer that restorative poses should be a part of your practice, be it weekly, or certainly monthly. Okay, have just the arms out to the side. Yeah, we'll take them overhead, but not yet. Press the feet, widen the thighs away. We worked with this action on Friday, reaching from the inner groins, the inner side, the inner groins and the pubic bone. Yes, belt is optional. This also can be done flat. Sometimes for some people, the trunk support bothers their back, then putting the torso flat on the floor can help. We use the horizontal bolster. So I'll use this as an opportunity to explain. Hi, Joe. The horizontal support to more in a back bending class, or to open the chest a little bit more to get depth of the chest.
That doesn't work.
What?
That doesn't work. That just mutes me.
It's unmuted now.
But there's no sound.
So I can hear you, Gail. Hi, Joe. Now, when you're ready, take the arms overhead. Patricia, if that bothered, if you're stuck near the wall there, you can just go into Baddha Hasta then. But extend through your inner elbows, keep those joints firm, then you can cross the arms, depending on your mobility in your upper back and armpits. You can hold the wrists or the arms, the upper arms, or even the elbows. Gail, did you want to log in again? Make sure to keep turning the upper arms, that skin inside out, and lengthen your triceps to the elbow. That's good, Patricia. Okay. And then re-extend through Urdhva Hastasana arms, get the armpit length, the elbows firm, healthy for the joint, and then change the cross. Okay. So this is Supta Baddha Konasana, which, I would love, everyone knows it. We do it a lot of times. And of course, it's part of your toolbox. Okay. Now return the arms to the first position, down by the side. Again, feel the opening, the width in the chest that you've created. Might feel the exhalation a little bit more easily now, having the legs in Baddha Konasana. Feel the breath move out along the sides of the navel. Now to come up, take the feet flat to the floor, roll to one side, and we're doing Supta Virasana. If it bothers anyone's knees, you can do the pose. I'll show that pose in a moment. but you're taking Supta Virasana. Some of you will need a bolster, a blanket, or even 2 bolsters. Head support and belt are optional. So sitting Virasana is the very best way to start in the pose. Sitting in the Virasana, establishing the base, the pressing of the feet, the shins, the inner knees turning to the outer knees. Do one arm position. I'm doing Urdhva Badanguliasana. Changing the cross, you can do Urdhva Hastasana, you can do Gomukhasana, Paschimottanasana Namaskar, and then you're going to recline back. If you have a bolster nearby, you'll put the bolster on your thighs, which will feel really good, the second bolster, okay? So Supta Virasana when you're ready with vertical trunk support. Patricia, you're okay in Supta Virasana? Yes, you recline back, yes. Come a little bit away from the wall so you'll have, or it looks like your wall there, so you can reach the arms backward. Make sure the weight is to the baby toe side. If your knees fly up, that was good, Lindsay V, that's really good. I was going to show that with straight legs. Yeah, Nancy, that's good. Be to the outer shin, have cushioning. If anyone's ankles, but Lana, I don't know if this will help you at all, but I've been doing Supta Virasana this way. So I'll take the same roll that I had for my head and I'll roll it. This really helps my feet. And then I put the ankle on the roll and it helps so much. If anyone has, it's for a variety of foot issues, particularly arthritis of the metatarsals, and then I go back. I just find it really helpful for the feet. It also helps to turn the inner arches to the outer arches and the inner knees to the outer knees. Okay, if anyone's knees bother them, they're doing the same pose as you are doing, Lindsay V, with straight legs. And again, like good illuminate. And then if you have a bolster nearby, you have to get up and get it. Nancy, that looks good. You can put the bolster with it, yeah, on the thighs. That will help you be more in your legs. So that when you, so remember, Patricia, the knees fly up, take more trunk support. That's the bottom line rule, right? The shin has to be down. It's hard for, the whole shin, inner knees turning inside out. It looks like they're up, Patricia, so I would build height. It's not uncommon for people to use, watch, Patricia, 2 bolsters like this. But remember, if the knees fly up, then you absolutely need to maybe build up the trunk side. And then you go back. I've seen people do it with more than 2 bolsters. Yeah, so the trunk support is vertical, not horizontal. Vertical, yeah. It should match the blanket, Patricia, should match the bolster setup. So say I needed more height than 2 bolsters, then I would do it in this manner, because otherwise it feels very lumpy. All right, when you're ready, those of you who have been in for a bit, take the arms overhead, same arm positions, that's better, Patricia. Make sure that the bolster setup catches the lower rib band. So otherwise you're jamming your low back, you won't be spreading the sacrum, and you won't be getting length to the side ribs. Nancy, that's a really good setup. And then hold in Baddha Hasta when you're ready. Those of you who have a dowel, it's always helpful to hold the dowel to really get the elbows firm, change the cross. Yes, good, Lindsay V, yes. So it's good. It's true, we change the arms, but what often people do, it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, is they just change the cross and keep the flexion in the elbows. You want to extend through the arms, then hold the elbows or wrists or upper arms, then re-stretch, and then change the cross. So that's a habit. If you have that habit, we can break that now. Not to say, I hate to be dogmatic about things in that manner, but that's a good habit to develop. Okay. Now, notice how Supta Virasana is much more vertical. You're likely to feel your inhalation. You might have more than the exhalation than Baddha Konasana, and perhaps feel the breath as high up as your collarbones. Remember, you're not changing the breath. You're not willfully changing the breath. The breath changes on its own according to the shape of the yoga asana, the geometry that we're in. Okay, I'm not going to keep you too long. All right, so now take the hands down by the side. So we end the arm position where we began. Rest there. If you're up, and you can stretch out your legs. And then to come up, place the hands in the arches, ground through the lower leg. Inhale, come up, and then stretch your legs out into Dandasana and open the backs of the knees. All right, so now we're coming into Supta Swastikasana as a precursor to Matsyasana, which we haven't done in some time. So let's continue with the organic support. Matsyasana can be taught flat, but because we're doing these as restorative poses for nourishment of the organic body, we're going to do it in this manner. So you're just sitting cross-legged. You can take either leg in front because we're changing, and then reclining back. So I just want to show you this, where my bolster is not touching my sacrum. So in the same manner you just did Supta Virasana, there's a bit of space here, and then I go back. Let me show it from a frontal view. So you can see I have cross-legged and then I recline back. So the bolster is vertical. If you need head support, take it. That always is the case. If you need head support. Some people, when they have their head back because of restriction and they're thoracic, they need that head support. So Supta Swastikasana, yes, cross-legged position with the arms down. Now, mind you, a sequence like this of 4 restorative poses would take on average 30 to 40 minutes. We're not doing it that long, but you could spend this amount of time in it. So this is fairly easy on the knees as compared to where we're going Ardha Padmasana, and of course, even Padmasana. Take the arms overhead. Lengthen your armpits, good. Kick the dorsal in, kick it in. Don't let the spine sleep on the support, although the support is supporting you. But that spine moves away from the bolster support or blankets. And then hold in bound hand. Good. So it can be done flat as you are allowed. Hold the bolster overhead. Okay, re-stretch through the inner arms. Keep the elbows firm, which is a tapas in itself. Change the cross. Baddhasta, bound hand. Again, keep turning. You can use if your hands like you have, Winnie, on your upper arm, turn that skin. So the triceps are facing the ceiling. Good. And then we'll end with the arms again down by the side. So each cycle has the same arm position. Okay. Now hold the sides of the mat and take your legs from that bent position to just feet flat on the floor. Roll to your side. Those of you who could come up like you did in Supta Virasana, change the cross. So let's come into it a little bit differently. So the first time, Lana, you did this, I just saw it. So I had your legs were crossed, you recline back. What I often like to do is start here. I'll stretch out my legs in Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. The trouble with this way is that I have to inch back a little bit, but it's a nice way to stretch out the legs in between the 2 crosses. So that's a possibility. Or you could choose perhaps not to have the organic support and just lie flat. It's up to you. All right, say it's the same pose, you're changing the cross. So if those of you want to go back to how we originally did it, swap the interlace and then of course recline back. I just happen to like it doing it from UPP because then I can hold my heels and take them in. That's it, Beth. Patricia, yeah. Okay, and just rest there. All right, these look good. Again, trunk support or flat back. And then arms overhead, touch Urdhva Hastasana, neck support if you need it. There is a way of creating a belt around the hips. We call it a yoga pata that can be done we've done it when we have at the very beginning of the class when we sit. Just remember that's in your toolbox as well. And now Baddha Hasta. Re-extend, Urdhva Hastasana, lengthen the armpits. Change the cross, Baddha Hasta. Good. And then just relax with the arms down by the side and enjoy the breath. Feel the nourishment coming from the support that you have underneath you, be it the bolster or just the floor, the ground below. Okay, so we'll come back to the Matsyasana piece a little bit later after we work with Ardha Padmasana. So now there are two ways to come up. Those who are more experienced can place the feet flat on the floor, hold the sides of the mat, press the feet, lift the chest, or simply place the feet flat on the floor and roll to your side. If you have back issues, I wouldn't come up in the first way. All right, now you're going to do one of my very favorite supine poses. Take the blanket from the Sarvangasana shape, make a roll. So I call this tailbone Shavasana. So I have a nice roll that's going to belong to my spine. I'll have a bolster nearby. And then I'm going to sit with my buttocks at the very end of the roll with bent legs, as we always do. We don't want to come into a straight legs, bent legs, because it's easier on the back. I'll have the bolster nearby. Recline back. You'll feel a little bit topsy-turvy in the beginning, because that's just the nature. You're supported by a circular roll. Then you'll extend one leg and then the other, and then put the bolster horizontal on the roots of the thighs. Notice how my feet are to the wide edges of the mat, because I want to decentralize my posture. So I find this very helpful for anxiety. I feel like a starfish. It's a very wide pose. I'm using my arms to open up my lungs. I sense that the right lung is moving to the right hand and left to the left. And then I'll touch the Urdhva Hastasana, and then I'll come back to the decentralized, okay? So we'll call this tailbone Shavasana, meaning your tailbone is on the roll. Your thighs are rooted by the aid of the horizontal bolster, and then decentralize the arms, turn the arms from the inside out, and creating a lot of space. So usually what helps reduce anxiety is not doing contracted, narrow poses. What you want to do is very wide poses, particularly supine or seated, because those are decentralizing and gets your mind off of something, and it makes it more of a peripheral experience. It's like seeing the whole room, or going outside and seeing big sky. Okay, those are the principles. That big sky is more in the Buddhist philosophy. All right, so just rest there and just enjoy this vast shape of tailbone Shavasana, especially with the bolster. And Lindsay V, you can have, another blanket on your forehead, the way you have done in Shavasana. If it's, just put it in your toolbox. You don't have to get it now. All this is just to add to your toolbox. Yeah, Winnie, you could have the bolster on your abdomen, but try it on the roots of the thighs as well. It's a little bit different. I find that the roots of the thigh, in terms of anxiety, and then you can put your hand on your navel band and feel the diaphragmatic breath. not breathing from the chest now, but breathing low down from the diaphragm, the muscle of respiration itself. Okay, now one last point, because you're on the roll and now you're not so tipsy, turvy, you're steady on the roll. I want you to feel your spine, right? The roll runs the length of the spine, because in the next pose, we want to come back to that memory of the spine. So you're alerting the spine. Again, the spine is not moving into the roll. You're not pressing the spine down. The cervical spine maintains its natural concavity as the lower spine. And we're making the spine alive, so that when we come to sit, we're not slumping. Okay. Now, when you're ready, take the bolster away from the abdomen or the thighs. And I think we'll just do one more before because I can bring in that tailbone shavasana spine into the next pose. So now we're all going to do a straight leg Paryankasana. Lindsay V, you've already done this, but it's fine to go back to it. So for many people, when we put the blocks on the high side, this is too high for them when their legs are straight. So one of the things you could do is just take the blanket, Sarvangasana shape, fold it again. So you're raising the height of the pelvis. Others of you might need a blanket to support your head. So I've seen this set up many, many times as we've done straight leg Paryankasana. And then watch, you're sitting in front of the two blocks. Now, I will say, if you can't tolerate the two blocks being on the high side, then of course go to the medium side. But let me just show this. So I start with bent legs always. I go back, the first block goes to my thoracic, second block receives my head, and this blanket is very effective. I'm going back to that webbing of my hands to spread the skin at the OA joint, and then extend one leg and then the other. And again, the feet can be to the outer edges of the mat, okay? Now, if it's very high and your arms feel uncomfortable, then you would need another two blankets and build up support for your forearms. Now, if this is too high for you, although we have worked on it, you can go to the medium side. Then perhaps you won't need the blanket in front, obviously. All right, Nancy, that's good. Start with bent legs. So this is straight leg Paryankasana. And then again, feel what you just felt in the tailbone shavasana. Now the spine is again like a live wire. Good. Yeah, and sometimes if you're working with the foam blocks, you have to hold on to them on your way back. The wood blocks are better in that way, or the cork blocks, although the cork blocks seem to be the high, some cork blocks are even higher than the wood blocks. And then just keep the arms down by the side. We'll take them overhead. Remember to turn the skin. So as I said, we're about half an hour in. We didn't do the Padmasana one. We'll get to that, I think, maybe toward the end. But nice to spend a half an hour in these supine poses. When you're ready, take the arms overhead. Now, we're not staying long because they're dangling, right? Unless you happen to have a dowel to close the chain or a wall behind you that you can press your hands into. Now go to Baddha Hasta. Good. Re-extend, Urdhva Hastasana, and then change the cross. Take the arms down by the side and observe your mind. How is the mind in terms of the proliferation of thoughts? Have they been weakened by these 4 supine poses? Anyone feel strain in their arms, then placing a blanket underneath the right forearm, right wrist, and left wrist, left forearm would help. Okay, now when you're ready, simply bend the legs, yes. Now this time, because you're especially those who are on the high side, hold the sides of the mat, press the feet, lift with your chest. It's important to come up with the high blocks in their place. The lower won't make so much a difference. Okay, now stretch out your legs into Dandasana, and we're going to be in Upavishta Konasana to unfold the backs of the legs. So we've had 2 lessons thus far on unfolding the backs of the legs. So do it with ease. This very first Upavishta Konasana needn't be your widest Upavishta Konasana. Sit in such a manner that actually we can sit in profile, because there's a tendency for people to have their trunk forward like this. All right, so I need the trunk to be exactly vertical at a right angle to the floor. The legs are in contact with the floor. The feet are perpendicular to the floor, and then the arms can come up. Those of you who have a dowel, you can work with your dowel. The dowel. If you don't have a dowel, don't worry about it. Okay, that's it. So I'm looking at everyone's trunk. Move the thoracic spine in. If your arms are coming forward over your ears, take them a little bit wider apart. It'll also help you to keep the arms straight. Wider, that decentralized position will help. Okay, now take the arms down, and we're doing Parshva Upavishta Konasana. So just watch. You'll take the arms back up, and then you'll aim the right arm, the left arm over to the outer right knee, but not like this where the trunk is coming forward. So the legs have to stay steel to the floor as you turn to the right. Okay, so those of you who can show me in profile, take the arms up, and now expose the left side of your waist, turn left to right. You can bring the left hand beside your outer right knee. Good. Make sure the trunk isn't coming forward. Now find out in turning to the right, did the left leg shrink? Just glance at your left foot, see it's perpendicular. Shoulder blades are flat on the back. Okay, now take the arms up. Pay attention to your right leg as you simultaneously aim the right hand over to the left knee. Don't turn from the head. Initiate the action from the right side of your waist as though your left hand were there, and turn it. Parshva Upavishta Konasana to the left. Your right shoulder should be over your right waist. And now repeat, but sense you're doing this. So just look at the screen for a minute. Your arms are up, but sense the turning. The turning is coming from the left side of your waist, as though, and you could use your hand so that you don't turn like this. Arms up and then turn from the head. Okay, so one more time to the right, Upavishta Konasana Parshva. Good, Winnie. Seal the legs. Good. Look at the feet, make them perpendicular. Don't lose length in your inner arches. Now take the arms up. If you want to, use your left hand on the right side of the abdomen and turn to the left. Go in one easy motion. Bring the shoulder blades flat on the back. All right, now come back to center, and now take it just a little bit wider, having been there. You can lift the pelvis up, bring the legs a little further out, but still keep the legs glued to the floor. Keep the trunk absolutely perpendicular. Have the hands now beside the hips. So what's nice about this pose is this pose, more than any other pose, helps open and unfold, obviously, the backs of the legs, because you have the floor, right? Even this pose standing, Prasarita Padottanasana, unless it's done at the wall, can't do the job that Upavishta does. It's also wonderful as a shape because it spreads the diaphragm. It's a wide, wide shape. Compare that now to Dandasana. Have the legs hip width apart. Again, seal the legs like Upavishta Konasana to the floor. Let no part of the leg leave the floor like that. So seal right above the knee, suck the outer shins in, extend through the heels, and then be absolutely upright. It's harder to seal the legs in hip width Dandasana and certainly feet together Dandasana than Upavishta Konasana. Now again, take the arms up, but still press the legs down. Kick the dorsal spine in, right between the shoulder blades, like you felt in Paryankasana. Patricia, you're letting the shoulders go back slightly. So bring the trunk, particularly this part, upper chest, slightly forward to the wall that you're facing. That's it. Okay, now take the arms down. All right, now the final one is bringing the feet together, which is the hardest yet. Press right above the knee down. Iron the flesh of the quadricep to the bone. Suck your outer shins in. Extend through your heels. And now once again, with the arms up, did you maintain the legs moving down? There's a lot to do. Don't let the pelvis or shoulders roll back. Be absolutely upright. That's good, Beth. And then kick the dorsal in. Nancy, good. Kick it in. If it's hard to kick it in, take the arms wider apart. That's it, Patricia. All right, now take the legs back to hip width apart. We're doing Parshva Dandasana. All right, so it's a little bit easier to feel the legs when they're hip width apart. So we take the arms up like we did in Parshva Upavishta Konasana and turn. Okay, so just let me show in profile. Dandasana, feet hip width apart. Reach up, turn, maintain. You can look, if you go in profile, you can see yourself on the screen. I mean, I can see you all too. All right, here you go. Start in Dandasana with the feet apart, raise the arms up, and now sharp exhalation. Remember, don't initiate the turn from the head. Initiate the turn of Parshva Dandasana from the left side of your waist, from the left side of your waist. Okay, yeah, and watch the, Patricia, watch it. So this is what often happens, and I know Patricia, your teacher also sees this a lot. So when we turn, we duck the chin, right? As though there was something on the ground that we need to see. But actually, let the gaze of the eyes, the head follow the turn. So we start the turn from here, like we're like a globe, like a globe on a desk. We turn from the axis. Okay, eventually we get the whole chest facing the opposite wall. Okay, so did you do right side, left side? Okay, then, yeah, okay, if you haven't, do right side, left side. Don't let the chin drop. That's better, Patricia. Don't let the chin drop. Keep that cervical spine long. Okay, come back to center. Now feet together, seal the legs. So it's an exercise in attention. The tension goes to where it's being directed. So it's being directed to keep your legs grounded into the earth. Then take the arms up with a vertical trunk. And now again, initiate the turn to the right from the left side of the waist. So the head is actually the last to turn. The head is the last to turn. Our habit of mind is to look down, turn the head and the chest, and then turn the sides of the trunk. Okay, now take the arms up again and turn to the left. Initiate the turn from the right side of the waist. Good. That's good, Lindsay B. Now come back to center. All right, now from this narrow Dandasana, go back to wide Upavishta Konasana. You'll enjoy the airiness of it and feel the inherent compactness. So when we just looked at Upavishta Konasana a few minutes ago, we talked about the unfolding of the legs and the geometry, the metrics of the pose, perpendicular chest, perpendicular feet. Now I want you to put your thumb and index finger at the indents, which is not the waist, it's where the top of the thigh and the pelvis meet, and feel the inherent compactness of the hips that also Upavishta Konasana has to provide. Compactness in the hips, which you need in many poses, standing poses in particular, you know what they are. Now, from the compactness of the hips, so we're going to a smaller part versus the legs pressing down, take the arms up. Remember tailbone shavasana. Have the memory of the roll as though the roll were behind you. And now kick the dorsal spine in. Have the memory of the roll behind you. If I was there in your room, I'd hang the roll behind you and you'd be moving your spine away from the roll. Okay, now take the arms down, go a smidge wider, same thing. So Nancy, I was thinking about you when I was planning this class because I too like poses where, you know, I'm concerned, I'll say conserving energy. That's what I like to think of, these poses as conserving energy, but you get a big bang for your buck. And all these poses that we're doing, we've been here 45 minutes, will affect your other poses. So it wasn't in a yoga class, but I heard the teacher say, like, it's not where you're just lying around doing nothing. Don't see it like that. You're doing a lot. You're doing something. It's not nothing. Okay, so go wider. All right. Now take the arms up again, kick the dorsal spine and have the memory of that tailbone shavasana. Kick it in, kick it in. Because this is not an easy pose, especially if we were to time this with the legs pressing down, the arms up. Imagine you could stay here for 2 to 4 minutes. That would not be easeful, it would be challenging. Because things would change. The arms would come forward, the chest would round, etc., etc. Okay, now take the arms down, take the legs back to Dandasana one at a time. All right, now we're sitting upright in Sukhasana, sometimes called Swastikasana. If you need support, take it if the knees are high. If you need the back, take it. All right, so cross-legged position. Again, feel the inherent compactness in Swastikasana, Sukhasana. All right, now from here, we're doing the same thing. We're doing Pajra Swastikasana. All right, we'll change the legs after we do the turn. So you're going to go to the right, and then you'll go to the left. And remember, especially in this one, there's a tendency as we turn to the right for the head and the chest to drop. Don't let that happen, okay? So you're here in Swastikasana, root the thighs down. Again, you can use the wall if you need it. Take the arms up. Okay, don't let the chin drop. Don't let the chin drop. Look, take your hand and put it on the bottom of the chin. So it's running parallel to the floor. And now initiate the turn from the left side of the waist and go. Don't let the chest come forward. Shoulders are over hips. Nancy, you're a little bit forward. Bring the shoulders back. Yeah. So what happens when you go to the right, the left side becomes a little lighter. Can you feel the left buttock bone pressing into the earth? Take the arms up. And now to the left. Round through the right buttock bone. Keep the chin parallel and go. So it's one fluid motion initiated by the side of the waist. That's good, Patricia. Okay, now stretch out your legs. We'll change the cross and repeat. Okay, stretch out your legs, change the cross. So this is Pajra Sukhasana or Swastikasana. Raise the arms up, establish the metrics, initiate the turn from the right, head, eyes last to turn. Remember, when you turn, that left upper arm skin turns from the inside out. Good, these look really good. Shoulder blades belong to the back. Kick the dorsal in so that the upper back is not rounding. And then again, raise the arms up, reach up through the fingertips, sharp exhalation, initiate the turn from the right side of the waist. Remember to turn the skin. If you want the palm facing outward, that would help of the right hand. Okay. And now come back, stretch out your legs. Okay, we're doing Baddha Konasana, seated, taking it the next step. We did it supine. So if you need a bolster, if you need to be at the wall, but actually everyone get 2 bolsters because we are going to do, we haven't done this in some time, I'll just show it quickly, but we're doing Baddha Konasana first. So we're doing, some of you don't need 2 bolsters, but I'm going to show it. So we're doing Mula Bandhasan soon, where the foot is perpendicular to the floor. Some of you have done it with a chair. If it bothers your knees, you're doing it on 2 bolsters, then by all means, I'll show it with the chair. So that's where we're going to, all right? It's called Ekapada Mula Bandhasan. So in the meantime, you'll start in Dandasana, place the soles of the feet together and do it mindfully. So remember, when you go into Baddha Konasana, we do it twice because I'm taking the right leg, and really for the health of the knees, turn the skin from the inside out. Then the soles of the feet come together and you're pressing the soles of the feet together. So we'll do Ekapada after this. These are good. All right. Yeah. Well, if the one thing I will say, if you're holding the feet, and it's not to say it's wrong to hold the feet, but it tends, Winnie, to bring the chest forward. So remember, the metrics are still upright. Have the upright trunk, hands beside your hips. Good. All right. Spread the abdomen. If the knees are here, like coming into my armpits, go to the wall with a narrow blanket support. Okay, now it's going to be much harder to raise the arms overhead in Baddha Konasana. It's a pose that's not commonly taught that way, but we're going to do it today because we're doing all these seated poses. Stretch your arms up without coming forward. That's good, Lubna. Then use your down. Yeah, try not to duck the head though. Yeah, so many of you, when you took the arms overhead, duck the chin. Keep the chin in that parallel position. Okay, one more time. Keep the chin parallel and raise the arms up in Baddha Konasana. Okay, these are good. The wall, Nancy, that's excellent. Good. All right, these look really good. And then Patricia, remember to turn the arm skin from the inside out. Baddha Konasana. Okay, now take the arms down. Sit on 1 bolster or 2. So now I'm sitting on 1. I think you can all see this. And then watch, I'm starting in Dandasana. I'll decentralize the left leg a bit. And then I'm aiming to get the foot. Just remember the foot, this right foot has to be perpendicular. Now I like to use my thumbs because the inner heel is coming toward my perineum. So I stick my 2 thumbs between my perineum and my shoe, which makes it a little bit easier. So I want to bring more weight to the big toe side because it's rolling out to my baby toe side. So I'm using my 2 thumbs. I've told you could use like a hardcover book, somewhat narrow. You could wedge it in there, or a block that's like this. I don't think many of you have this, so it's really not that important to show it. But if you have a book that looks like this, about 1 inch wide, you can aim it between your foot and your perineum. So I'm trying to get this right foot perpendicular to the floor. This pose is wonderful for the circulation in the lower leg. I find this pose particularly helpful on an airplane or post-flight. It also prepares the body for Padmasana, which we're going to. Lubna, that's really good. Lana as well. Okay, change sides. Remember the knee, elevate your pelvis. One leg will be very different than the other, especially if there's issues with the foot. So with the height of the support, remember to turn the knee, especially if there's any issues with the knee, and you're aiming to get the knee on the floor and the foot perpendicular. You can use your hands or wedge in a paperback or hard. Nancy, that's really good. I find it very helpful to have a sneaker on, because you want the toes don't bear as much pain or discomfort. Well done. So just stay there. So for people who, I'm just saying this because, as I said earlier, there might come a day when your knees are bothering you, and then you could sit on a chair, you see, and you do it like this. And I could even I can't do, Lumina, you're doing it. I'll show someone in the full pose, but wait, many of you will do the full pose as I'm doing on a chair seat, okay? Like you're doing, Lindsay. All right, let's spotlight Lumina because we haven't done this in some time. All right, plus it's a fun posture. It's also really, really good for deep vein thrombosis, that people often get when they're sitting on planes for a long time, right? All right. So let me spotlight Miss Lubna. Lubna, that's really good. All right, so Lubna, you're on a little bit of support, right? Yeah, I like the way you wedged in your hands, a book could do, and then so you can see the difference, Lubna, in the leg side. The right leg is closer to the floor than the left, right? No, is it the left? No, wait a second. Yeah, your left knee. Yeah, that's good. Widen across the perineum. That's really good. Now they're even. And then like Baddha Konasana, she's reaching from her inner groins, right? The sides of the pubic bone to her inner knees. Good. Thanks, Lubna. All right, so let's try this. You know, you can always do as I'm doing it on a chair. Lubna, I removed you from the spotlight, right? Yeah, thanks. Okay. So if you can't get it, good, Nance. And this is where the sneaker really helps as well. These are good. That's beautiful. Well, that's good, Lindsay. Oh, yeah, a lot of you have this. This is great. Patricia, good. Patricia, it looks like to me your left thigh is a little higher, but I'm a little bit reticent to say that because the screen it could be a little bit not clear. Yeah, Lindsay, this is really good. Really good. If you've been sitting for long periods of time, particularly on a plane, this is an excellent pose. Lovely. Okay, now stretch out your legs. All right, now this is where the next one, you will need a wall, and this one you all know. We're just coming in and out of Padmasana at the wall. So I'm taking my bolster at the wall. You know, it's probably about a fist distance away. I put my pelvis now, maybe a little more than a foot distance. I always think of Janet because she says, not a foot distance, it's like 5 inches. Okay, so I'm sitting on my pelvis is on it. All right, and then I'm going to swing the legs up at the wall. And now I'm going to use gravity to bring the right heel to the left groin. And notice how I'm using my hands in the same way that we've done all morning, right? This is so good for your hips. In and out into Ardha Padmasana using gravity to get the heel into that opposite groin. Oh, it feels so good. It's like you're lubricating your hips. I'm going to go in and out. In and out. So again, it's where we're conserving our energy. You know, if one wasn't feeling well, if it was a very hot day, you know, there are many times when you'll have to draw on a sequence like today, this nourishing sequence where you can get a lot done, but you're not expending a lot of energy. Go in and out. Yes, you could do it freestanding, Lubna. Yeah, it's possible. Go in and out. Be very mindful of how you're turning. Good, Nancy. Aiming well. You're staying for about, you know, a few seconds each side. Not a long time. The more important part is to go in, out, in, out. That's it. In, out, in, out. Try, yeah, for some of you who feel like your foot is torquing, you can place your hands underneath the foot so that the ankle is equidistant from the inner foot and the outer foot. Okay. And then remember, yeah, if it's too much, Lindsay V, then just stay with the legs straight at the wall and do Upavishta Konasana or even Baddha Konasana. Okay, and out. All right, now to come out, just place the legs flat on the wall and scoot head side. You can bend the legs, scoot toward your head, slowly come out. All right, now we're going to do that pose seated. You're back to Dandasana. You're going to lean to one side. Again, you're not staying long. So as the foot comes up, the knee stays on the floor. Ardha Padmasana. And then if all is well in the world, then maybe you can come into Ardha Padmasana, or some of you Padmasana. Okay, so the main thing here is that we're going in and out like we did at the wall, aiming the foot. I'm not staying long, notice, yeah. So remember, so Patricia, don't lift the leg up. So you actually want to lean to one side so that knee stays down as you aim the foot. So that knee enjoys the support, and see how I'm leaned in, right, to the right. And then same thing. So I lean to the left, knee down, knee down, knee down, knee down, foot up. It's a circular pattern. See, as I take the foot up, the knee moves away. It's circular. Good bet. Then if that's coming, then do Ardha Padmasana, which is this, right? Where one foot, the left foot is on the right groin and my right foot is underneath the left knee. And if that's coming, then of course the full pose. But don't worry if you can't get to Padmasana, okay? I don't want anyone's knees bothering them, okay? Then Ardha Padmasana, or just go in out. These look good. These look good. Okay, now stretch out the legs and you'll just have a different orientation. This is our final supine restorative pose. Well, I didn't do it at the beginning for a reason. All right, now I take the bolster, watch, for the organic support. Now, some of you will do Matsyasana in the cross-legged position. Others of you can do it in Ardha Padmasana, which you were just there. And others of you can do it. You'll go back to where you were a moment ago. Only this time you're reclining back in Ardha Padmasana or Padmasana. I hope that's clear. All right. So depending on where you just were will be what steers you to this next pose. So this pose is called Matsyasana, where the legs are in Padmasana. Some of you can be in Ardha Padmasana or even cross-legged. All right. If you have any questions, please come on and ask me. I'd be happy to answer them. So now the trunk is supported. So let's go back and review. Come on the screen, Beth. Because I can't.
You want everybody to do we need to have the vertical support or can we do it flat?
No, if you, Beth, if you can go flat without your knees coming up, be my guest. Let's see. Go ahead, Beth. You can do it flat. The final posture, well, there's two actual Matsyasanas, one in which the back is arched and one in which the back is flat. So you can do flat back, Beth. Yeah, that's good. Knees are down. Belt is optional. Patricia, are you okay? Come on the screen. I'd be happy to answer anything. All right, well done. Now, we're not going to keep you long because guess what? You have to come back up and change the cross, right? So we won't go too long. Make sure your neck has support, Lubna. When you're ready, come back up, stretch out the legs. Like you remember how we fold the arms in Badhasta? That's good, Gail. Stretch out the legs. Now take the opposite position. The opposite legs. That's it, Winnie. Make sure the knee is down. So you're not lifting up the leg. The knee stays down, Beth. Belt is optional. Many people, when they're doing Matsyasana flat, Beth, find a belting at the root of the thigh helpful. Good, Patricia. All right, just stay there. Remember, if your knees are bothering you, unleash the legs into Swastikasana. I'm begging. Okay. All right. These look good. This is a perfect place to arrive now. All right, we're going to continue on. All right, now to come out of this pose, unleash the legs. You can, if you're in Padmasana, you can hold the sides of the mat, then come up, or you could just take the legs up as you're doing, Beth, which I like to do in UPP. All right, now we're going to do this somewhat quickly because we've done this, you know, a bazillion times. Take your belt, you can be at the wall. I'll show from a frontal view. So I like to do the Supta cycle lately in this manner. There's many different ways you can do it, but I'm going to show you this way. Hold on, because I find it, bye Lubna. All right, so you're doing, watch. We're going to 1, Supta Parivrishtasana 1, head support if you need it. Then I decentralize the leg out to 2, which is that same spaciousness that you get in Upavishta Konasana. Then I'm doing 4, And 4, you all know you can do a figure 4. There's many ways to do 4, and then go back out to 2. So it's 1, 2, 4, 2, because 4 improves 2, and then we'll cross over and do 3 for ecopod jetter. Okay, so let's do it. And we still haven't stood up. Okay, all right, feet out wall. But it's not to say you're being lazy. It's not like that. These postures make all poses happen. Okay, so let's get symmetry in the body. Take the knees into the chest. Dvipada Pavamuktasana first, just for symmetry. After Matsyasana, extend through the core of the left heel. Put the belt on in a place that's appropriate for you today. Stretch the leg up to 90, and now make it a process to move beyond 90. So most of you love the Supta cycle, and we do it often, and there's reason why we do it every day. So Patricia, see if you can right above the right knee, press it back to the wall so that there's no divot in the back of your right leg. Really open the knee by pressing the top of the thigh back and extending. Double action. Reach from the inner right knee to your inner heel back. Really open the back of the knee as though the wall were there and it's pressing on the wall. Good. Keep moving the leg. Go to your maximum. That's it, Gail. Go to your maximum. Some of you will help by pull the toes down. Use the strap. Pull the toes down, heel up, toes down. Good. Keep the right leg running in line with the right shoulder. Don't let it wander out. That's fine to go to the max holding the foot, if that's possible. Because we did some hamstring work. We didn't do down dog. We did it with Vishnukonasana. All right, now hold the belt with the right hand, sorry. Take your left leg out, decentralize so that you don't go with the right leg, and now Supta 2 to the right. Right arm is straight, both legs are straight. No elbows, no knees. That's it, Nancy, good. It's a good, when your head is facing me, it's a good way of me saying it. Good, good, good. That's it. Legs straight, Gail, good. So the leg is higher than 90 degrees. You're aiming to get the leg up as high to the right shoulder. Good. Now do 4. So 4 is, I'm giving you some flexibility. 4 can be figure 4. It can be hooking with both forms as I'm doing now. 4 can be that, or it can be right foot in the crook of the left elbow and reaching back. The Gomukhasana. Lindsay V, that's good. Anyway, if your hips are tight, go to figure 4. That's it, back. All right. No need to lift the head up if that's problematic on the neck. Figure 4 is good, Gail, that's it. And the Padmasana should have helped that. The Padmasana that we did both at the wall and on the floor really helps. Now go back to 2. Of course, we didn't spend enough time there to make it better, I don't think. But out to 2, see if 4 helped 2. We already did 2. Decentralize the left leg. That's it. Taking the left leg out of the alignment, sealing the whole left side of the body helps. And now raise the right leg up. And now hold it with the left hand and cross the right leg over a little bit to the left. The right hip will lift off the floor. Keep resisting your inner right thigh away from the left inner thigh so there's no groin pain. Good. That's it. These are good, Nancy, good. You're staying on the median line. That's a good angle for me to see the median line that you've maintained. Good. Remember that right arm is still straight. Left arm, sorry. Okay, now take the leg up, do Dvipada for symmetry. Both knees into the chest. Okay, then extend through the core of the right heel, and we're doing the same thing. So just to firmly implant this in your memory, it's 1, 2, 4, then back to 2 because 4 improves 2, and then 3, just so that you know it. So it's there for you to access. All right, 1 is 1. Good. Kick the dorsal in. Remember tailbone shavasana. Don't sleep on the spine. Good. Okay. Now, 2, I don't want to, I know I'm rushing right now. 2, out to 2. Decentralize the right leg so you don't go to the left side. That's it, Patricia. Look at your foot, see that the toes are not pointing down. So Patricia, keep the baby toe side of the foot parallel to the floor. Good. Just take a glance at your left leg. It should not be lower than a right angle to your trunk. Otherwise, I would bend that leg, meaning the left leg. All right, stay there, open up that groin. Now go to 4. And here's what I would say, people, is that choose a 4 that's appropriate for this left side. It's a fallacy to think that the right side and the left side need to be even. So you might want to choose perhaps a harder iteration on this side or a less hard iteration. That's what I'm saying. So if your left hip is tighter than your right hip, then why not go to the figure 4 on this left side, right? Because it makes, and that's really how to progress. View each side as a different entity and do what that side truly needs. It's hard to tell on screen. Okay, so there's your 4, Gail, good. That's your 4. Now, of course, if you were practicing at home, you could stay 2 minutes with the foot up at the wall and edging a little closer to the wall. Now see, go back to 2 when you're ready. Go back to 2. Good. Out to the side. Legs are straight, arms are straight. Lovely. Arm is straight. See if you can keep that left arm straight and not on the floor. The arm is off the floor, that left arm. Good. All right, now 3. Hold it with the right hand. Stay on the median line. Find your median line before you take your left leg to the right. Remember that turning of the belly from the right to the left. All right, good. Okay, and now Dvipada, take the leg back to 1, Dvipada. All right. Now you're coming on your side, so watch for a moment. We're going to do, I'm taking a blanket so my ear is not, my head is not dropping to the floor. You can put it in this manner. I also have a belt nearby, so watch. So the first position in Parshvatadasana, which is the name of this pose, is the Vrikshasana position, where the sole of the foot is on the inside of the thigh. It's like Baddha Konasana. It's like Vrikshasana standing. Okay, then after I stay here, like Ardha Padmasana, I'm gonna hold, again, this is easier in a sneaker, I think, but Nancy, you can try it. I'm aiming then, my foot just cramped, sorry. I'm aiming to get my foot in front, so it's like that Ardha Padmasana. It's wonderful for the hip. Then I'll go back to the Vrikshasana position, and then I'll hold the big toe or outer edge of the foot and come into Anantasana, which is like Supta Padangusthasana 2 on your side, okay? And we still haven't stood. All right, here we go. So start with side, we'll call it Vrikshasana on your side. It's also wonderful for balance. Remember to support your head so that the head doesn't, you don't lose length in the, I was on my left side or your right side, cervical spine. All right, now place the foot on top of the inner thigh. Move the knee back to the wall behind you, but the groin forward. All those Baddha Konasanas. If you need to be against the wall, that's fine too. Okay, so this is there's stages of Anantasana. This is the first stage. The Ardha Padmasana is not a stage. I just like to add it because it's fun and it fits very nicely in this sequence. So you're going to move in a second from the Vrikshasana position, sole of the foot on the median line of that inner bottom thigh, and then now put like Ekapada Mula Bandhasana, aim the sole of the foot on the floor so that that heel is right up against your groin. So it's Ardha Padmasana. That's it. Good. Okay, you got it. Good, Peggy. Okay, these look good. Now bring the sole of the foot. So you could try to get it, instead of being flat on the floor, aim to get it more like that Mula Bandhasan shape, where the foot is perpendicular to the floor. That's it, Beth. Yes, Mula Bandhasan sideline. Good. Now go back to the Vrikshasana, wait there. So this is more classical now. Have the belt, some of you will need it. Put the belt across the ball of the right foot, or some of you might be able to do Anantasana, holding the outer edge of the foot back. And then remember the mantra here, the leg wants to come forward, move the leg back. I'm trying to move it back to the trestle, so to open the groin. Think of Upavishtakonasana. That's it, Lindsay V. That's it. Anantasana, couch pose. Feel that's really good. Keep that right arm straight, holding the foot or the belt. That's it, Patricia. Good. All right, now before we go to the other side, lie prone, which is often how Patricia teaches this. And I want you to do Bhujangasana in a slightly different manner today. So just watch. I'm tucking my toes under. I'm placing my hands, not my forearms. My hands are by my armpit chest. And then not leading with my chin. I kind of slither the sides of my waist forward and then I lift up, but I only lift up with my arms are still bent and my navel, just my navel on the floor, and then I come down, and I'm going to do about 8 of them. So I press my hands, my foot cramps, so that's why I have my toes tucked under. You could be on the tops of the feet, and I rise up. But notice how, you can't see this on the screen, but this part of my body, right here, the navel band is on the floor. I only come up, my arms are still bent. Try not to lead with your chin. Place the palms beside your armpit chest, elbows in. Press the feet. Those of you with cramps, turn the toes under. Yeah, be away from the wall. Yeah, Peggy, you can come away from the wall. Yeah. And now that's it, Lindsay V. And now rise up, lift up, but keep the navel on the floor. Navel stays on the floor. Good. Now come down. Can you repeat 6 more times? Just see. Don't lead with the chin. That's it. Elbows in, rise up. And actually, before there's the rising up, there's a slight slithering forward, like a snake in the grass, then rise up. That's it. Arms stay bent. Trapezius belongs to the back. Don't let the trapezius hike up to the neck. This is really good for upper body. Now, on your 6th or 8th one, quickly lift the hands off the floor. Quickly. Keep the arms bent, but just quickly. That's it, Nancy. Hands off the floor. Hands off the floor. Just quickly. Hold yourself in space. Okay. And now rest with, just rest and make a little pillow with your hands so that you can breathe and just rest prone. Okay. So that was Bhujangasana. All right, now I'm going to just come up and watch this next one on the screen. So I'm going to show, I think it'll be best for me to show with my legs toward you. We've done this before, but we don't do this a lot. So I'm going to show it. So
We have to do the second side of the Anantasana.
Oh, sorry, Beth, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. Anantasana. Yes, you're absolutely right. We need to do the second side. Thank you. Get so carried away. All right, so you're back with the blanket or not. Vrikshasana, Ardha Padmasana, Anantasana. Okay, and then we'll do a Bhujangasana again for the sacrum. The reason why I'm doing the Bhujangasana in between, it's very helpful on the sacrum after Anantasana. So Vrikshasana on the other side. Thank you, Beth. Then Ardha Padmasana, where the foot is perpendicular, sneaker helps, Nance. Yes. And then when you're ready, Anantasana. So Gail, we're doing Anantasana the other side. It's fine to use the belt for Anantasana. Not everyone can hold the big toe. And then the mantra, good, Beth. The leg goes back, you're opening that groin. We worked on that. Remember last Friday, it was all about the groins. That's good, Nancy. It's all about the groins. Now the leg is up in Anantasana. Good. All right, then you'll go prone and repeat, just do 4 bhujangasanas. So this is very good for upper body. I was watching this trainer speak to women's upper body strength, and they did bhujangasana in this manner. And then, of course, got 8 times. He held it for the count of 8, and then palms up. So let's do bhujangasana now, Patricia. Yeah. If your feet bother you by being on the tops of the feet, tucking the toes under is fine. All right. So I think I'll save the prone kunchanasana to another day. Okay, then when you're ready, from a prone position, push yourself away into dog pose. I'll finish up that. Yeah, Patricia, you can finish bhujangasana. Everyone else, dog pose. Good, Gail. Up to dog pose for symmetry. And finally, up and about. And then join the feet without shifting the body, without bending the arms. Lift the root of the right thigh up. Ekapada, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Good. The thigh that's aerial, the right thigh, the median line should face the floor, and then descend the right, and now lift the left leg up, lift it straight up, good. Okay, and now rest in child's pose. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, and then we'll do one other thing, and then we'll conclude with Shavasana. So we've spent quite a long time doing standing, seated, not seated and supine work. So thinking about the poses that we did standing and seated, if you had to pick 1 or 2 or 3 will be too much at this point in time. Let's just say 1. What pose would come easily to you now? So I'm not gonna, there's no answer. I want you to just do a standing pose that you think you've been prepared for through this sequence. So I'll give you a hint. Vrikshasana would come rather easily to you now. This one, Trikonasana, would come easily to you. Virabhadrasana 2, Uttita Pajrakonasana. Okay, so those are just some. Of course, you're not going to do all of them. You're just going to think, think about what would you, if you're standing now after dog pose, what does your body feel inclined to do? Which standing pose? Ardha Chandrasana at the wall could be a great one. Okay, so I'd like everyone to pick a pose. Being on the diagonal is good. Okay, and now when you're ready. So let's see what everyone's picked. So Vrikshasana, Trikonasana on a diagonal, I see. Trikonasana. Patricia, looks like you're coming into Parsvottanasana or maybe Warrior 1. Okay, and then of course you'll do the other side. Good, okay, that's good, Beth. Parsvahasta Panushtasana from Vrikshasana. Yeah, that's probably the one I would pick as well. Okay, that's it. Warrior 1, Patricia. Now to the other side when you're ready. Peggy, it looks like you're doing a kind of a standing revolved triangle. Good, Gail. Okay. These look good. That's good. So you note that, how does that feel doing what we did? Good, Nancy. All right, now you're going to come out. You're going to do a few Chatuspadasans, and then we'll do Shavasana. So what I wanted to steer you toward was this. There's a lot of layers to this sequence. If you don't have a lot of energy and it's time for you to practice, you might feel after doing seated poses and supine the energy to do them, right? So there's that aspect. The other aspect is there may not be energy to do them, and that's fine. You had a solid practice of seated and supine. So that's, and there's other aspects as well, but I don't have time to go into them. But it's something to be looked at and addressed. So now, remember, Chatuspadasana with the blanket, supporting your shoulders. We did this on Friday. So you want to bring the heels as close in to your buttocks as your knees will allow. And then I'm making today, I'll make a right angle with my arms. I press down and I lift up. And like Bhujangasana, do about 8 reps. Okay, it'll feel good after all that all that seated work. Okay, that's good, Beth. You're getting a lot of height. Yes, buttocks move to hamstring, hamstrings move to buttock. If your legs are beginning to splay out, put a block between your legs. That will help many of them. Good. Chatuspadasana is a pose that really good to do 3-4 times a week. It, builds the hamstring strength, it builds the glute strength, and we really need that. That's it. Put the block in, and you'll be fine. Good, Gail. Lift the backs of the thighs up, buttocks up, shoulders down, head down. Good. Use your arms, you'll get more lift. Okay, and then I'll do for Shavasana, because all of you did Chatus, put your lower legs on the seat of a chair, where you always do it, Nancy. Okay. And the bolster can be there for the tall side. So I hope you appreciated this sequence today in terms of, and we didn't even touch all of them. There's a lot to do. I often find starting with supine and seated poses gives me the impetus to do standing work and other poses. But I rarely start with standing poses, at least at this point in my life. When I was younger, it was a different story. Yeah, and then I'm just going to remember, just to remind you guys, if you're experiencing a headache or anxiety, take the blanket and place it across the forehead, and then put the heels of your palms on the blanket and move the skin from the forehead to the eyes to the cheekbones. Very helpful. Good, Lyra. Nancy, that's a beautiful setup. And just rest there. Observe how your mind, body feel having done the practice this morning. Hopefully there's a lot of roominess inside your mind, spaciousness inside your mind and your body. And it's often that spaciousness that creates a moving away from that survival mind, which is very contracted, very narrow, very fearful, very constricted, very armored. The opposite. See if once again I spoke different words last week. Untangle the tangle. And today, to step out of and beyond survival mind. Perhaps by connecting with lost dreams, lost aspirations, if you will. Sylvia Borstein says, everything is manageable. Be confident in your own future. anyone who wants to sit for the remaining few minutes we have, it's fine, or even come into child's pose, which can be particularly nourishing after Shavasana. Just coming into child's pose with the blanket between the thighs and the chest, or with the blanket, the bolster on top of your back. That's it. Or you can just sit and contemplate your spaciousness. Okay, everyone. So now when you're ready, going to come to one side. Those of you who are sitting can open your eyes very gently. Thanks for coming, everyone. Nice to see you, Patricia. Let me just end the recording and unmute you.